Aloha, everyone, and welcome to Class 7 of Astrology for the New Age of Aquarius. I'm so happy to be with you. We're completing our cycle. The 8th class will be a resume. It will be kind of to radiate this light and also to share amongst ourselves um, the treasures that we've all received. So, you all know that this is based upon the Zodiac key to man and the universe. I finally got it right. 7 classes it's taken me. And, of course, it's been compiled through the improvised lectures of Omraam Aïvanhov given through the years of 1938 through 1985. And once again, I'd like to offer all my gratitude to Purnima and Susan for hosting. And as I said before in the last class, holding this space, nurturing this space for all of us. This is the work that all humanity is called. And when we look at our mandala of consciousness, nurturing this axe, vertical axe that's represented by house number 4 and house number 10, this vertical axe is this act of holding space, creating a sanctuary, nurturing. And it's through that that we're able to bring forth our soul purpose, that we're able to bring forth our uniqueness and our essence out into the world. So this vertical axe, I'm just like to introduce that this is being represented now by these two extraordinary souls, Susan and Purnima. I would like to offer my gratitude also to Omraam World, that is now doing extraordinary work to spread and to make available, because it's not trying to convince people. It's making these teachings of this man, Omraam Mikhaël, available to the English-speaking public, which is a big affair. It's a huge affair. So if you haven't visited this site, please do. It's just extraordinary, and it will link you to different areas of this spiritual teaching, and also bring you to Prosveta with capital letters USA.com. And I'd like to offer my gratitude to Aaron Rose, who is responsible, who's the director in the United States of distributing not only the teachings of Omraam Mikhaël, but also the teachings of his teacher, Pitadenov. And he's doing just an absolute extraordinary work, and I'd like to offer my gratitude to him. And then, of course, all of you for all the work that you're doing with your guides, with your teachers, with all these beings of higher consciousness that you invite in and that you're working with. So today we're going to take a look at, we're going to go very deep. Today's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at these 3 crosses once again, but we're going to be looking at them through these wheels of karma and dharma, and entering into truly what is astrology for the new age of Aquarius. And we saw this a little bit last week, and these alchemical symbols of consciousness, where are they found presently in human evolution? These symbols have never disappeared. They're always in the astrolight. Remember, this is the study of astrology. It's the penetration, the immersion, and the study of astrolight. So these symbols are found in the astrolight. Each one of them is a process that we're reawakening consciously and bringing them into our evolution, our physical experiences. So we saw the first one, the Caduceus of Hermes. We're seeing that through our minds, our ability to understand and form concepts, that there's a whole nother current that we're bringing in forth, and that's represented by Uranus. So this combination of Mercury and Uranus, as you look at your mandala of consciousness, their relationships and where they're situated, is an activation of this caduceus of Hermes. In other words, we're reactivating consciously these two currents, Idya and Pingala, that are circulating through our chakra system, and allowing these energies of involution and evolution to circulate effortlessly through us. And what's awakened through that is an ability to focus. Focus on what? Our sole purpose. It's ability for us to enter in and allow that to become the really, truly, the line, the directing force in our lives. And what's awakened is our intuition. We're able to understand things in a very different way. We understand things as a unity, as oneness, synthesis. We're bringing things together. So this is some of the gifts of Caduceus of Hermes. And the second one, the magic mirror. This we know, almost all of us know this through dream time. Through dream time, we enter through another veil of consciousness, and suddenly we're free. It's absolutely, we not only we have the ability to see things invisibly, but we're able to hear things invisibly. We're able to travel freely everywhere in all three dimensional realities. And if you look at the two planets, and you'll see them in your chart, the moon, which enables us to make this passage freely through our sleeping time, and then Pluto, which allows us to make this passage from lifetime to lifetime. So these two forces now, these two planetary resonances are coming very strongly into our lives. The veil is lifting, and especially now with the arrival of Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. The last time it was in Aquarius was during the times of the French and American Revolution. So you can well imagine the power that's being unleashed. Now there's another revolution, and this revolution is one on an inner spiritual basis. And this whole cycle, the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius at this time, this whole cycle, and that the age of Aquarius was aligned also, that the Earth was entering into the late age of Aquarius, was 26,000 years ago, the time of Atlantis. So this was natural for us. We lived this way at the time of Atlantis. And right now we're going to reincorporate and be able to enter into a whole different way of looking at the world around us. And the next, the Philosopher's Stone, absolutely extraordinary. How can we enter into consciously a state of illumination? How can we transform all matter, everything, into its natural form of light? And you can see the two planetary resonance, the sun, which is pretty obvious, and Mars, that's enabling us to link our personal will with the higher will. So in that, this Philosopher's Stone is enabling us now to step out of a dualistic reality. There's no longer any good or bad. Everything's there to be transformed into light. There's nothing there that can overpower us. It's there so that we can do this state of transformation, of bringing things from lead into gold. This is the work we're doing. And we're doing it first in our blood. Our blood's changing from iron into gold. that we become bearers of light. So the next alchemic process that's being awakened now with this arrival of Aquarius is the universal panacea. Of course, it's always there. Imagine our physical bodies, how absolutely extraordinary they are. They have the ability to bring everything into an harmonization. And if we read these amazing true stories of people that had second or near death, as they call it, experiences. In other words, they passed over and came back. And that things that were absolutely, in regards to the medical science of today, that's working on a physical level with the body, our physical body, and exploring it from all different angles. It was impossible for this medical science to understand. So this is what's happening now. As we enter in and reawaken this receptivity, this grail energy that we hold within us, we receive this extraordinary presence of Venus. We receive divine grace. We're all graced. And we are bestowed the trident of Neptune. In other words, the waters, all the waters, we're able to now have an ability to enter into contact with. And we all know the healing power of water. The earth would not be here, our evolution would not be supported if there was no water. And so now we enter into one of the most extraordinary symbols. They're all extraordinary, but the magic wand. This magic wand. Now, what is creating this magic wand for us is our soul purpose. Once we decide to enter into contact on a conscious way with why we've come here on the earth, and we allow this to be our principal acts within our lives, this magic wand is given to us. And this magic wand has a name for it. It's called confidence. We suddenly become confident in who we are. Well, if we look at the word confidence, it means con with, I dance. So we're dancing with our soul purpose. We enter into a movement that's absolutely extraordinary, and we express the beauty, the wisdom, the cooperation, the harmony. All these soul qualities, we're able to participate in a dance, a collective circle dance that's extraordinary. This is one of the gifts of our magic wand. In French, confidence is confiance, which means with our fiancé. In other words, we're with our twin soul. Through this ability to connect with our soul purpose and allow that to be the axe, the spinal cord of our lives, these processes happen. So if you permit me, I would like to share a song that I wrote, but I'm just going to read the lyrics. It's called Dance with the Light. Each dawning day, coming to pray, night fades away with the first ray. Light enters within, lifting up high, beginning to dance. Dance with the light. Dance, dance, dance with the light, turning, swirling, wings taking flight, soaring within infinity, dancing with light into eternity. A gentle touch within each breath to guide along and follow the steps. The wind, the waters all joining in. With rays of sunshine, the dance begins. Dance, dance, dance with the light, turning, swirling, wings taking flight, soaring within infinity, dancing with light into eternity. The melodies the angels sing, the light overflows with joy she brings, the wonder of light illuminating. The dance is now forever calling. Dance, dance, dance with the light, turning, swirling, wings taking flight, soaring within infinity, dancing with light into eternity. Your soul is asking for this dance, offering you again the chance to be the essence of who you are, high above, to shine as a star. Dance, dance, dance with the light, turning, swirling, wings taking flight, soaring within infinity, dancing with light into eternity. Dancing with light, dancing with light, dance with the light. So I'd like to invite us all to imagine us in this extraordinary light of dawn, anticipating this arrival of the light. And with this arrival of the light, we sense an arrival of these extraordinary beings that represent a reflection of who we are in other dimensional realities. And so as we're waiting for this arrival of this first ray of light, we're also awaiting the arrival of this extraordinary partner in which we can express fully who we are. And as this first light appears, we're feeling all the different movements that are awakened as these two extraordinary beings of who we are in this physical incarnation and who we are in the dimensional realities of the unseen merge. And not only do we feel these movements, feel the colors and the sounds and the realities that they're manifesting, we're feeling that all over the earth, this same thing is happening. And we're feeling this ability of the earth to attract and bring in this extraordinary presence of the unseen world. And as this dance continues, as the light continues to reveal itself within our conscious reality, we begin to see that this happens all over the universe, that the planets are in a constant dance, They're constantly moving and relating to the universal realities, the sounds, the beings, the colors, in a creative, spontaneous, harmonious expression. And as we feel into this movement, we feel into these rhythms, we start to understand that there's an eternal presence between these two polarities within us of masculine and feminine, of seen and unseen, of love and wisdom. And as these two polarities interweave within each other, we see that they all come from the same source. And it's this source, this God, Goddess source of the universe that is constantly dancing within the reality of creation. So thank you. And this was a prelude to enter into now these three cycles of dharma and karma and what we are now presently in. And in the last chapter of the book, Omraam Aïvanhov went into great detail about this. And when I first read this, many, many years ago, heard him talking about this, because I first heard it not in a book form, but I heard him speaking about it. I knew something was going on. So this is an expression in the Judaic Christian tradition. Now, to penetrate into this diagram, to enter into this more fully, we need to look at this, perhaps to understand it, because I think the reality of these 12 tribes of Israel, they're not well known today. The Judeo-Christian tradition doesn't really have that big of an impact in our civilization today. So to understand that these 12 tribes obviously had an origin, the origin in creation came from Adam and Eve. Yet Adam and Eve, these two divine principles, Eve, she was second. There was someone before her called Lilith in this Judaic tradition, Kabbalistic tradition. Well, this theme we're going to find over and over and over again. In fact, humanity is plunged in this theme of this banished feminine principle. So, I don't want to enter fully into the depth of just the relationship between Adam, Lilith, and Eve. Yet we find this fully represented in these 12 tribes of Israel, because this repeats again, the same thing, the same scenario. So Abraham, the father of all of Israel, of this Hebrew tradition, is living with his wife Sarah. So at that time he's called Abram, and his wife Savi, I believe. Okay? And there's this visitor that comes at night. And Abram receives him washes his feet, invites him in, and just really just shows all his devotion. And the next day, the person says, I am going to offer you a blessing. So first he reveals his name. My name is Melchizedek, which means Melech, king, Tzedek, justice. So the king of justice. And where does this man live? He says, I come from a place called Salam, which Shalom means peace. So this personage, it's the same thing as in the Vedic tradition of Babaji. They're not the only ones. They weren't born in the same way we're being born now, through the physical encounters between the masculine and feminine on a physical form. These beings do not need a physical body. They can manifest in one. They have no age to them. So this being Melchizedek, which is known also in the Vedic tradition as Markande. Why I'm taking time for you this is because this is our state of providence, of dharma, of living this state of bliss. We're in the presence of these beings. We're living in these beings. Well, these beings haven't left, obviously, humanity. We're still in their presence. It's just that we're not conscious of them. So this particular being, Melchizedek, said, I know that you've wanted to have a child, and it hasn't happened. So I am going to offer you this blessing, and this child will continue this extraordinary tradition in which you have fostered. And so his wife of Abram left. And she went, I'm 90 years old. There's no way I can have a child. And he said, no. And so he changed their names. Abram became Abraham. In other words, he received the breath of spirit in the Christian tradition, the Holy Spirit. He received this. And Sari became Sarah. She received that also. And sure enough, they had a child. And once again, there's another woman. Her name is Hagar. She also fostered a child by Abraham, who wasn't accepted, and they were banished. And we all know the stories that happens with this exile, this banishment, this fall. So this is the work that we're in the 12 tribes of Israel. We're working with the wheel, this wheel of destiny, the circle of destiny, this cross of destiny. And we've started with this necessity because there's a part of us that we banished. We let go. We don't want to accept. And so how's that represented in astrology? These two movements of Mercury and Venus in relationship to the Earth's perspective, how they come in front and behind of the sun. They're following the sun. There's two positions. For Venus, the morning star and the evening star. Well, these two realities need to become a part of a human being. And what's happened in our integration into physicality, we've let go, we've banished our inner self. And so in these 12 tribes, this is what we're reintegrating. We're reintegrating that we're not 12,000, 12 million different facets that are completely separated and that are fighting with each other. No, we're working together to recreate this unity. They've been fostered by the same current God got us. And we're reintegrating this. And how we reintegrate this is through reincarnation and reincarnation and reincarnation. We've explored the different facets of duality. So in this story, what happened? So let's just jump ahead into the 12 tribes of Israel, which was fostered by Jacob, and he also had 2 wives. Well, how did Jacob come into being as far as the son of Abraham, Isaac, had 2 sons. And these 2 sons, one was a hunter and one was more feminine. One was more inside, one was more, and this son was favored by the mother. And so that mother went through all different things so that this son, Jacob, would receive the blessing of Isaac before passing away. Well, this created another separation. These 2 separations of masculinity were separated at that time. So our inner ability of Mars to support, to protect, to march forward and solve any difficulty and support this evolution was changed, was banished, was separated from this inner reality of gentleness, of kindness. And what happened, we all know what's happening because we live in it. So this is the work we're doing. We're reintegrating in our feminine principle, 2 feminine principles, and our masculine, 2 masculine principles. So in this work, what happened was Jacob also, he went out, he had to leave because if not, his brother was going to kill him. He went into exile. We saw that last week. And in this exile, he came into a family. There were 2 sisters. He fell in love with one, yet he had to marry the older sister before he could marry the younger one. So he had 2 wives. So it's through these 2 wives that these 12 tribes came into being. Once again, these 2 facets of Venus, the outer one and the inner one. This is what we're bringing together. So now we have these 12 tribes, and we kind of know the story about Joseph being cast out because Joseph, he was holding this current, this connection to source, the connection to Melchizedek, the connection to God, Goddess. He was having that, and how was that represented? Was through a rainbow coat in his aura. He was exiled, you see, by these same 12 tribes. This is what we're facing. We're recognizing now through our mandalas of consciousness. We're not recognizing and putting this mandala of consciousness in how can I get married? How can I succeed in my job? You know, this person is bothering me. What does that represent? It's their fault. How can, the government succeed and how can it not? And blah, 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 blah. No, we're putting it in the context that these experiences were relinking them into this divine current. So you can see on these 12 tribes of Israel, the transformation of each of these sons. We don't talk about daughters. That's already been banished, you see. All through now, all we're talking about is the masculine lineage. The feminine lineage doesn't even exist in this Judeo-Christian tradition. They're not the only ones. This is what we're coming into now. And as we look at our mandala of consciousness, we're asking ourselves this question. At the age of Aquarius, what can I do to bring into fullness these 2 principles within me? And as you look at the different planets with all the polarities of everything I said, little by little, your soul purpose and how you can little by little work inside of yourselves and with the universe is going to become clear. This is the goal of this class. This class isn't to fill you with information. It's to assist us into understanding, why did this man come? What was his purpose? Was to prepare that the earth was entering in to a circle of universality, that we're all brothers and sisters, we're all one family, we're one tribe. 12 facets working together, extraordinary. So you can just look at one, Benjamin, the aggression and destruction, entering into courage and the ability to sacrifice for others, etc., etc. So this is the work that we're doing with our wheel of houses. Remember, every day on the horizon, a different sign of the astrology comes up, and it radiates its energy through the different sectors of our life. This is just one way of expressing it. And this spirit of duality now, this is what we're bringing in. We're looking deep within ourselves, these emotions, and where are they coming from? Well, they're coming from our subconscious and unconscious. And what are we bringing them in from? We're bringing them in from millions and millions of lifetimes. That's what we're bringing them in. And in this lifetime, we have all the conditions to start this work and continue this work, to reunite this and recreate this divine lineage that has never disappeared from humanity. It's remained always intact. We have left, but we're coming back and we're being received. So this is the cross of necessity. We're leaving this struggle, and we're entering into the state of liberty. So Jacob, at one point, in his initiation, in his exile, he came face to face with these angelic beings. And he struggled with it. He fought with it. And in the morning at sunrise, through his proper surrender and letting them in him, he triumphed. And his name was changed into Israel. This is the sense of that word, Israel. Can you imagine? And what does that mean? It has several meanings. So I don't want to, put myself forward that I'm an expert in this, but it means seen within God. Isn't that extraordinary? That's what that word means. So we're seeing God within us, and we're seeing God on the outside of us. There's another interpretation for this word too. And you can see this very clearly in the Israel within us. It's called struggle with God, because of this struggle. But what are we struggling with? We're just struggling to accept these higher consciousness, these higher currents, and letting go, surrender. And this is the condition of this age of Aquarius and this reimmersion of Scorpio into the eagle, or Scorpio into the phoenix, or what we're going to see if we have time to look at this reemergence of the 13th sign of the Zodiac, Ophiuchus, is to allow this hidden reality to become a part of our lives. This is the struggle. This is the struggle. And there's a force that Rudolf Steiner, he gives a name for. It's called Ahriman. And this force is there constantly to say to human beings, you are that which you see. That's your only reality. And as you dominate that reality, as you completely become the master of that reality, you become the master of yourselves. And this is the goal for all humanity. Yes, there's a little bit of truth in that, but it's very partial. And where's that leading to? That's leading to all the problems that we're experiencing. So this is the work of the 12 tribes of Israel. And of course, these diagrams you'll be able to study, and you'll be able to look at them and look at your charts and enter deep into yourself. This is the energetics. Once you start feeling and dancing with your proper energetics that are constantly there, little by little, we all start understanding the experiences that we're living. And as we understand the experiences we're living, everything makes sense. There's nothing that doesn't make sense, that doesn't go together. So in this, suddenly, from what some sort of magical circumstance in our lives, we start saying, there's something else than this circle of struggle. There's something else that exists. And that is our soul purpose. So we start understanding that in order for us to accomplish this soul purpose, we need to, first of all, to be instructed. So Hercules, he had a teacher in the mythological story of Hercules or symbolism. And also, he needed to go on a quest so that he could become that. He, she. So in this represents this direction of the rotation of the planets. These are our resonances of planetary consciousness. They represent the forces of dharma coming through the signs of the astrology, and it's our ascension, it's our path up. When we say ascension, it's not leaving the earth. It's entering into our higher self, and we're leaving a state of duality, and we're entering into a state of trinity that we saw last week in the symbol of Mercury, the symbol of the sun, the moon, and the child. So we're entering in, we're harmonizing the love, wisdom, and truth within ourselves, our will, our heart, our emotions, and our minds. These things are becoming harmonized. They're being impregnated through higher states of consciousness, through these states of initiation. And once again, we're face to face with what we're carrying within us. Yet, we've added something. We have decided to work on it. We have decided to go on a quest. We have decided to put our lives in service to acquire, to nurture, to grow the qualities that we have been bestowed upon lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So we are this personage. So can you imagine in the story itself, Hercules, the reason why he went on this quest was because he killed his wife and his son. That is the state of separation in which humanity has entered into. And when we realize that, when we start coming face to face with this state of separation that we harbor, it's not happening to us. What's happening on the outside is just the consequence of what we're living on the inside. That's all. When we come face to face with that, that's our dark night of the soul. That's when we're coming face to face with this guardian of the threshold. And until we come face to face with that and take responsibility, we can't go on this quest. We can't start elaborating and transforming this brute matter into these qualities that will nourish not only our sole purpose, but the sole purpose of others and the sole purpose of the entire earth. So this is the work that we're doing when we undertake these 12 steps of initiation. And it talked about the 12 things of Jesus. There's a walk that people do. There's 12 stages. This isn't new. These are old. But at the time of Greek mythology, it was looking at the state of separation that the consciousness humanity was entering into. That it killed its wife and killed the divine child within them. Yet, of course, these are eternal beings. You can't kill your soul, and you can't kill the divine child, this divine seed that Goddess has planted within us. It's impossible. It's the state of consciousness that killed it. So, Greta and I were on a plane going to Europe several years ago. And you know how they have all these films, and we chose this film. It was a documentary. The question was, what is love? The first person that came on was a Black African man dressed in a prison uniform. So you could just see, like me right now, how you can see me, the head and a little bit of my shirt. And so he says, what is love? He goes, when I was 18 years old, I was completely involved in drugs, meth. And in a frenzy, I completely lost it. And I killed my wife and my son. Exactly like Hercules. So he said that. Is he the only one? No. This happens all the time. And it happens on a mass scale too. Anyway, he's talking and he says that. And he goes, I went, I was so devastated by this action. I went on trial. The mother of my wife, so the grandmother of my son, came to the trial every day. She sat and she said to me, I forgive you and you are forgiven. Every day I was put into prison. We were still in prison when he was talking. She came to visit me every day. I refused to see her. And finally, I accepted it. And I just broke down crying. And I finally was able to say to her, why are you doing this? Why are you coming? How can you possibly forgive me? And she said, I cannot bring back my daughter and my grandchild back to life. But you are still living. I can bring you back to life. He looked into the camera. He had tears in his eyes. He said, that is love. So in our lives, this is the fuel of the 12 labors of Hercules. How can we possibly accomplish these works? The colossal state of cruelty, of insanity, of division, of dominance, of separation, we can go on, a hatred, we can go on and on and on and on and on of humanity if we're not fueled by this love of wanting to assist humanity, because humanity exists, it's alive. This is the 12 labors of Hercules within ourselves. So we do it on ourselves first, obviously. Cruelty to sacrifice and the divine will. Materiality into patience and strength. Deception into love and wisdom. These two. Mercury. Stagnancy into the deepness and purity, etc., etc. So in this wheel, little by little, we start entering into our soul garden. We start understanding that all these seeds have been planted within us for eternity. And we start seeing what we've already cultivated and what is there left for us to cultivate. And that's our liberty. Our liberty now in this lifetime is saying, okay, time to go to work. It's time for us now to transform this duality into Trinity, to create this divine family within us and on the outside of ourselves. So this is a whole different movement. But these two movements are happening. Remember, the Dharma and Karma, they're not separated. They're working together. So as these these forces of separation, they start letting go, what are they doing? They're nourishing these 12 labors that we're taking on. We need food for it. We need force. We need energies. And it's not just the divine energies that will sustain us because we're here on earth. We also need energies coming from the center of the earth, from our unconscious and subconsciousness. So these are what the 12 tribes of Israel are furnishing. They're furnishing the foods and the energy so we can accomplish our soul purpose in each one of these keys of the universe. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Isn't this beautiful? So this temple of the New Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city of peace. So now we know from the very beginning when I shared with you about Melchizedek and Abraham and Sarah, this is just in the Judeo-Christian tradition. This exists in every culture, all this exists in. So this temple, this is the abode of Melchizedek. This is our abode. And in this, you can see this cross of providence. And you can see all these extraordinary precious stones. Remember at the beginning, the first chapter of the book, when Omraam Mikhaël he said, oh, we're in this immensity, this astrolite. And this zodiac, this is what's pouring the energies from the source, from God Goddess, from the entire universe. And oh, by the way, these immense constellations, these immense universe with all the beings, oh, they created the organs in our body. Well, this is what the organs in our body are going to become. They're going to become pure crystalline state. Each one is a door. Each one is an opening. And so this was all revealed by St. John in the Judeo-Christian tradition 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, he talked about this temple of the New Jerusalem. As we finish these 12 labors of Hercules, we're received in the temple of the New Jerusalem. We become this. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't be in this temple before we finish. Yet, this is a permanent state for us, consciously. And so, as we enter this temple, there's a prayer that was given by our teacher's teacher, whose name is Aïvanhov. And this prayer was given at the end of the first movement of a dance that is putting us in harmony and creating this extraordinary presence of the temple of the New Jerusalem. And this prayer is called Providence. And it is, may the peace of God live in our hearts. And may the pure joy and holy bliss shine. Absolutely extraordinary prayer. This is what we're received with. This is who we are, this prayer, the peace of God Goddess. And we're shining forth this joy, this natural expression of life. And we're in this holy bliss. We're in this state of consciousness. So this week, I put this prayer to music and I added at the end, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. So it is forever and ever. Amen. All of us, let us imagine this temple, that we are these precious stones. Thank you for accepting a very tiny fragment of what this will represent. I harmonized it for four voices, and I will have those four voices harmonized. But I thought it was important to just have this resonance among us in this circle. So this is the goal, to have the peace of God live in our hearts, and that we enter into a state of joy. So as you look at your mandala of consciousnesses, look at it as a state of permanent joy that's constantly transforming. You're looking at it as a peace that's living within your heart, the essence of who you are. And so I'd like to read something from Rudolf Steiner. This is absolutely extraordinary. I mentioned it in one of the classes, but I feel that we need to hear this. We really do. Are human beings perhaps able to perceive the sense organs of angels? So can we see the sense organs, the eyes of angels? Where are they? They do not they not only exist, but they are perceptible to human beings. So we can see them if we desire. Only human beings do not know this. We don't know. We don't know how to see the eyes of angels. You will be able to understand what the sense organs of angels are if I tell you that a human being possesses as a part of himself two eyes for seeing the mineral world. In other words, our physicality. But that he does not perceive his eyes directly as a part of ourselves. In other words, our eyes see the physical world outside of ourselves, but we don't see the eyes themselves. They project outside. The same applies to angels and the mineral world. So the same thing applies to angels. Their sense organs are not to be found in the mineral physical world. So they don't perceive this world itself. They're not in the physical world like ours are. They're in a different world, so they can't see the physical world. Our precious stones are the angels' sense organs. Can you imagine? That's the sense organs of the angels, our precious stones, these 12 stones of the Temple of Jerusalem. Precious stones are the secret instrument with which angels perceive. Wow. So these organs are in the mineral world, just as human beings have a sense of feeling, a sense of touch. These beings, in other words, angels, have a feeling sense also. And this comes through chalcedony, the precious stone chalcedony, and their sense of sight in chrysolite. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Oh my God. They do not perceive the mineral world because their sense organs are there. So they don't see the physicality like we do. They just see space, transparency. They see through the eyes of precious stones. In peoples of ancient times, we even find a dim consciousness of this, dim. They attributed different forces to the various precious stones. These forces are there because of the presence of angels in them. So what we call these different qualities, that's a dim consciousness when we attribute different qualities to precious stones. In reality, the true consciousness are the angelic beings. So this is what we're entering into. We're allowing for the angels now to see through us, through all our entire body. Thank you so much once again, Rudolf Steiner, for bringing in something in words, clear words, so valuable and so immense. So as we look at our mandala of consciousness, we're looking through the eyes of angels. Isn't that extraordinary? We're seeing this mandala the way angels see us. This is how they perceive us. They perceive us as a mandala of consciousness. Can we see ourselves that way? So this is our homework for next week. We're going to sit and not only see ourselves as a mandala of consciousness in which the universal forces are pouring through us, but every single being that we see, we're seeing them in that way. So I would like to finish up our class 7 with the last page of the book. Can you imagine? We started with the first page and we're finishing with the last page. The whole book. First page, everything is found in Astrology. Listen to this. We must never give up in our effort to become perfect, because even though we may not succeed, it is our efforts that justify us in the sight of heaven, the eyes of angels. Heaven will never blame us. Of course they can't blame us. They don't live in duality. For not succeeding, it is the effort that counts. And that depends only on ourselves. We are the only ones. Yay! When the heavenly powers see that we keep trying, persistence, Taurus, over and over and over again, they will decide to give us all we ask for. And joy, remember, may the joy, the divine joy, light, beauty, and freedom will pour down on us. The Age of Aquarius. This is what the Age of Aquarius is. These gifts will be specially chosen to suit the character and structure of those who ask for them. We are all different. It's not this one thing that comes. Everyone will receive something for them and share it for others. They will be adapted to the affinities and the work they have already accomplished, as well as to their needs as regard to further evolution. Oh, we're going to evolve? Continue? Like fish in the sea, All human beings will receive these gifts from the cosmic ocean and draw from them the elements they need to form their skin, their finery, and their intelligence. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He continues to link this immensity, the macrocosmos, with the microcosmos. It would be possible to explore many more aspects of this subject and study, for example, the correspondences between the 12 signs of the zodiac and the 12 precious stones that formed the foundations of the New Jerusalem. We started that a bit. Or the 12 apostles in the Judeo-Christian tradition. But for today, be content with these few revelations. Few, like a few thousand. For already they give you immense possibilities for your spiritual work. So I'd like to invite us all to enter into this immense spiritual work. And we're seeing this connection between these three worlds. This physical world, this angelic world, and this divine world. And we're allowing these three worlds to communicate freely through our consciousnesses, creating this Trinity within us so that we can continue nourishing these divine seeds planted deep within us, so that this immense spiritual work to bring forth that the earth becomes this garden filled with the most delicious fruits, the most fragrant flowers, the immensity of trees, of flowing rivers, of majestic mountains and precious stones, and that children are playing joyfully, and that we're all living as one family, no separations, in peace, in harmony, in music, in art, in beauty, supporting one another through kindness, understanding, and at all times recognizing with so much gratitude everything we're receiving constantly from the womb of creation. Mahalo. And I love you all very dearly.